Hello and welcome back to The Road to Episode 7, an ongoing series where I chart the road literally to, well not literally, but you know, I guess it's the opposite of literally really, but I chart the road to the release of Star Wars Episode 7 in 2015, and what a stacked year that is turning out to be. There just seems to be more and more big movies being announced in 2015 lately, but anyway, it's been a while since I've done one of these because there hasn't been that much news on Episode 7 coming in. I hope you enjoyed the last installment where I talked about my favourite LucasArts memories. I got a lot of great feedback, that video. It's personally one of my favourite videos I've ever done, so if you haven't seen it, please go and check that out. Again, it'll be in the description along with all the other past installments so far. So what we're going to talk about this part is mainly what went down this past weekend at Celebration. Actually no, it's not anything because it's Europe. Celebration Europe. I think it was the second Celebration event that took place in Europe, and it was at Essen, Germany, and I really wanted to go to this. Oh, I really wanted to go to this. We had people like I think Peter Mayhew was there, Carrie Fisher was there, Ian McDermott was there, and then Mark Hamill was there, and I've been following it for a while, and he was never announced, so it must have been quite a last minute decision. So that was, I would have loved to have been there to meet Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and get an autograph. That would have been amazing. Anyway, a lot of people were speculating over what kind of news we were going to get about Star Wars Episode 7. It seemed like a prime time to do it. The film is scheduled to go into production pretty soon, either the end of this year or the beginning of 2014. So people figured, you know, this is a big Star Wars convention, that there'd be some kind of news. And there was. It wasn't what we were maybe expecting, but it was still great nonetheless. Now I've got my trusty notes here, so I'm going to get you up to speed on a few things if you don't know already, but you probably do if you're a Star Wars fan. But before we get to that, there's this rumour actually lately, and I mentioned it on my Facebook page. Apparently, there's a rumour that they're eyeing up Zac Efron or Ryan Gosling for the lead role of Episode 7. And everyone was kind of in uproar about that. And for me, you know, Ryan Gosling in Star Wars, why not, I guess. My joke was, who's he going to play? Mute Skywalker. Judging by his last few films, he doesn't really say much these days on screen. But I wouldn't be too bothered with Ryan Gosling if he was the lead. That would be interesting. Can't say I'd be against it, to be honest, but I really doubt that would happen. And from a perspective of Ryan Gosling, I really don't think it's his kind of film. I don't think he'd be interested at all. Zac Efron, again, I've never seen Zac Efron in anything, so I can't really judge that, to be honest. But I guess at first kind of glance, it's a bit like, oh god, really? You know, Justin Bieber's going to be next from, you know, from that kind of thing. So yeah, there was kind of two announcements. One of them I'll talk about now because it's not really an announcement as much as a tidbit kind of thing. And it was by Kathleen Kennedy, who is of course she's taken over Lucasfilm now. And her comment was, and I quote, "The conversation we're having all the time about Episode 7 is how much CGI. We're looking at what the early Star Wars films did. They used real locations with special effects. So for Episode 7 we're going to find some very cool locations, and we're going to end up using every single tool in the toolbox." She then went on to say, "I was amazed yesterday looking at what the fans were doing in reference to some of the things that she saw at Celebration Europe. Using model makers, using real droids, taking advantage of the artwork that you can touch and feel. We want to do that in combination with the CGI effects." That is very important for me personally, and it's something that Mark Hamill talked about. If you remember a few installments back on the road to Episode 7, I talked about his appearance at a screening of Return of the Jedi in Hollywood, and he talked about, you know, he said when he met Kathleen Kennedy recently that they really should be kind of going for more practical, more real, and that is just exactly what I think the world wants to see. And I think, you know, with Kathleen Kennedy, you know, talking about that so candidly, so openly, and so strongly, insisting that that's what they're trying to do, especially with J.J. Abrams on board, I'm pretty sure that we're probably going to see something that is very cool and will satisfy a lot of people. Because for me personally, and I'll just get into a little bit of a CGI kind of discussion here, I think some of the CGI in the Star Wars prequels, Episode 1, 2 and 3 are fantastic. You know, some of the vistas of Naboo and the Phantom Menace look brilliant. You know, the lightsabers in particular, people don't really think about the lightsabers that much, but they look incredible in all the prequels. You know, Yoda in Episode 2 I thought was fantastic. The opening space battle in Episode 3 is just unreal. But I think because those films are so saturated in CGI, there's so much work going on with digital effects that some of them are not up to scratch, and in some cases quite a lot of them aren't up to scratch. And you know, I love the prequels, I've talked about that before and stuff, but I definitely think a healthier balance should be made. I mean, episode 1, they were kind of on the cusp there. There was a lot more practical stuff in episode 1 than there was in episode 2 and 3. I mean, 2 and 3 were shot digitally, they weren't shot on film, and they just went so digital that that alienated a lot of people, of Star Wars fans. So I think going practical is definitely the way to go, not in terms of only looking good, looking better, I believe, but also just bringing in those fans who are maybe kind of a bit not too sure about, you know, committing to the Star Wars universe again. So that's very good to hear. She was talking about the status of the film so far, and she says that it's still in early pre-production stages, with J.J. Abrams and other writers still creating new characters for the movie. Which I've read some comments online that people are saying that's a bit scary, that they're going into production pretty soon and they haven't really nailed down the characters yet. But you know, I think once you've kind of got that down, things can start moving quickly. We know that Michael Arndt has been working on the script for quite a while, so I've got no reason to panic myself. She also said that we have the opportunity to create amazing new characters. Story and character are all we're talking about right now. Now, the second announcement, which is pretty big and something I'm very happy with, is that John Williams is confirmed to be the composer for Star Wars Episode 7. Brilliant news. Overjoyed to hear it. We kind of got a semi-confirmation about that a while back when he was talking about it, but it really sounded like he hadn't really even heard that J.J. Abrams was going to be the director. He was just saying, well, I haven't spoken to George, so you know, people weren't sure whether he would do it or not. But there's a video up on StarWars.com on their YouTube channel, and he talks about how excited he is to return to Star Wars and how he's looking forward to it. He doesn't know anything about it yet, but he's sure that he's going to be, you know, using some of his old themes to incorporate into new themes. And yeah, it's going to be really great, I think, because John Williams, for me, has got to be probably the best film composer, or one of the best film composers of all time. You know, when you get into saying the best at something, it's a bit, you know, you're kind of asking for trouble there. But he's definitely up there with some of the best. And as far as mainstream goes, he is definitely the most successful. I mean, just think about Star Wars for a second. You know, the Star Wars theme is just so iconic. That main Star Wars theme is amazing. Then you get like the Imperial March, again, amazing. You get like the Force theme or Luke's theme, you know, when he's looking out to the binary sunset, just a fantastic theme. Also the Leia's theme, I love Leia's theme, and just so many great pieces of music that are used throughout the original Star Wars trilogy. And I even think that the music in the prequels are probably one of the best things about them, really. I don't think anyone can deny that Duel of the Fates is a brilliant piece of music, and it's just so cool and awesome. And I think the music in Revenge of the Sith, especially towards the second half of the film, is really quite beautifully kind of tragic. So yeah, he basically, you take the Star Wars theme, an iconic piece of music. That's something that most composers maybe get once in their careers. John Williams did that about 5 or 6 times. He did Star Wars, he did Jaws, you know, E.T., Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, I think, and there's something else I'm missing. Harry Potter, yeah, I don't know if many people know that, but the main Harry Potter theme John Williams wrote before he'd even seen a single frame of Harry Potter. They hadn't even started filming. They wanted something to get the feel for promotion. And that's when he came up with the dun 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 dun. That was probably way out of tune, but you know the theme. He's fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what he comes up with this new Star Wars film. And again, very happy that he is on board. So that's it for this one. I was just going to touch on, although I don't think I've got much time, I don't want to drag this video on too long, but speaking of Celebration Europe, for anyone who doesn't know, I did some research about what Celebration is. And Celebration, or Star Wars Celebration, is basically like a Star Wars Comic Con. It's been going on for around, in fact, for 14 years now. Started in 1999 in America to kind of celebrate the release of The Phantom Menace. And they do it every couple of years. They don't really do it annually. So it kind of becomes quite a big deal when there's like years between them. And there's been 6 so far. and there's been 2 in Europe. I think there was 1 in Japan as well, and the next one is in 2 years, in 2015, aptly just before the release of episode 7 in Anaheim, California. I would love to go to that personally because you know, I met some people from Star Wars a couple of years ago. David Prowse, who played Darth Vader, Jeremy Bulloch, who played Boba Fett, and he was a really, really great guy. Kenny Baker. I've bumped into Kenny Baker more times than I can even remember. At the weirdest of times, just off the top of my head, there was a time when I was doing some wrestling training, and he was in a really small convention just over the nets in this gym hall. I was like, oh, it's Kenny Baker. But yeah, so I've met a few of them guys, but I really love to kind of get some autographs from the big players, like, you know, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill. Ian McDermott would be great, just to meet him would be awesome. Of course Harrison Ford, but that's never really going to happen, really. So speaking of Harrison Ford, very quickly, just to round this off, you should search YouTube for Harrison Ford's priceless reaction to Star Wars Episode 7. It's a brief interview where he talks about his part in the upcoming Anchorman 2, and Ender's Game, and Paranoia, I think. And then the interviewer kind of tries to round off the interview with any Episode 7 you know, info, and Harrison just goes, and he's like, oh, because I was talking to Mark Hamill and he said it'd be really interesting. Any of your thoughts on that? And he's like, So that's very interesting. I'm pretty sure he'll do it, although in what capacity, who knows. I still think that he's going to say, you know, I'll do it if I can die in the first 5 minutes or something. So anyway, there you go. Road to Episode 7 is moving on, and we're all moving on down that road. And yeah, John Williams returning to compose Episode 7. He'll be a part of all 3 trilogies. That is just fantastic news to me. Cannot wait to hear the score, but also to see the film. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.